Warning, this podcast has stories of real-life events and true crime that happens every day. These stories may contain adult language and graphic or disturbing details not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised.
132 in Bush, I've got him at gunpoint. Check the left over, we're going to full evacuation on this side. They're pulling them out.
911, advise ready for escape.
To another episode of War Stories. I'm Tom.
I'm Chuck.
And we're here for this week's live debrief. We are live and we're going to do some debriefing this week. We don't have a guest this week. I got back from hunting trip. Those of you that have been following Locker Room, the hunting chronicles of me learning to hunt. I'll talk about that on this week's Locker Room show. But how are you, Chuck?
I'm all right.
Work's getting weird again. They don't want you back.
Yeah.
You're going to have to retire.
I don't know what the fuck's going on. There's a lot that I've been dealing with. I should know more at the end of this month. I've met with like a lot of lawyers and stuff, and
right.
Not just regarding work, personal stuff. And it's all weird right now. I don't really know. I'm in this weird state of limbo, and it really sucks because I have one doctor who refuses to release me to work, and it's looking like I'm going through my medical pension, and it's looking like that's the only route, which sucks for me. But I don't know. It's still like up in arms. Like,
I didn't want to retire.
Make up their minds. Doctors don't want to make up their minds. Yeah, it's like it's either you think you're gonna release me, or you're gonna retire me. Not this fucking in between bullshit, because it's not just playing on. It's playing on my heartstrings. I'm not just a number. I'm a fucking human being, and it sucks because doctors now treat you like numbers because those numbers pay, and they don't want to say, "Hey, yeah, no, this is as far as you're gonna go. This is as best as you're gonna get,
right.
And these are gonna be your limitations."
Yep.
And then once they say that, then they have to cut off, like they basically cut funding, and that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid they're not going to be getting paid anymore. So it's like this weird shit, and like,
you mean they slow play it so they can bill?
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking dirty. It's dirty, and I'm like, hey man, like figure it out.
There are elements of, what does the city want, and what are they willing to do? I know, for example, in my case, I could have probably gone back to work for another agency, or even my own agency, if they hadn't handled the retirement process so poorly, right? But they didn't want to extend me, and they didn't have any legal reason to extend me. It would just have been because the agency said, we like you, we care about you, we value you, we think you're a good cop, we'll extend you to try and help you get back to work. But they didn't want to do that, right? And so if they don't want it, they do what they want.
Yeah. And also, like, I've just had I just had another, not an operation. Let me clarify. I had a procedure down my back. I had like my fucking 12th epidural in my low back.
12?
I didn't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had a nerve study just done recently, and they shoved a needle into my fucking nerve, into my leg. And I guess he took it out, and I was like, hey man, are you still inside of me? Like, holy shit.
That's not the first time you've said
that. The word choice is, I fuck with my tattoo artist all the time. I'm like, oh my God, get out of me. That hurts. You're going too deep. And people laugh. Anyways, so I said that, and it wasn't trying to be a joke. It was being serious.
And sometimes you're getting a tattoo when you say it.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, is that needle, are you still in me? And I clarified, I was like, is that needle still in me? And he chuckled and he goes, no, I took it out a while ago. And I was like, fuck, I still feel it.
Right.
And these are so bad, like innuendos, like sexual innuendos. But I was like, holy shit, I still feel it in me. Like, it's burning. Oh, man, these choice of words are really shitty, but it describes my pain. I was like, it's burning. It fucking hurt. And it's radiating down into my feet. And I was like, he's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not in you anymore. And I was like, holy shit. And then I was like, but you're in my right side too, huh? And he goes, yeah. I was like, that fucking hurts. And he was like, oh, I'm out now too. And I was like, what the fuck? And so we get done. And then he stabs me in my fucking lower back. And I'm like, whoa. And I look at him and I'm like, hey, man, I know you're not really supposed to tell me, but what'd you see? And he goes, yeah, you have nerve damage. And he goes, you have two pinched nerves on both on your left and right. So the pain and numbness and tingling you're feeling, that's all whatever. And it's
Right.
like, and even after surgery, they're like, oh, we didn't know you had surgery. It doesn't look like it. I'm like, this fucking 4-inch scar on my back doesn't look like anything. And they're like, oh yeah, but no, what's on the inside? We can't tell. It doesn't look like any work has been done. I'm
Right.
like, really? They're like, yeah, because your back reverted back. The surgery didn't take. So
Right. So you got
I'm
that
in this
going
weird
for you,
fucking status of limbo. It
which is
sucks.
nice.
What?
So I said, so you got that going for you, which is nice.
It's fucking great. I have another procedure coming up too. They're gonna
Right.
burn off the nerves and see if that works.
I mean, that's what you do sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Trying to get
what do they call that? An ablation?
Yeah, it's an ablation of the nerves in my low back to help and see if that works. If it doesn't work, then I've done everything up into, like, I already need the surgery. They're like, whenever you want it, we'll do it. And I'm like, cool. But I don't, it's a 3-level fusion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, I want to try to go as long as I can without it. And even the doctor's like, your back is hard to work in because it's too tight.
Well,
It's too
it's a very
tight.
small back and it's very tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, it sucks. Sorry, bro. I know it's
Sorry.
so even when I for those of you that have followed a little bit, you'll see some of these hunting pictures. I take one of those like gardening VA foam pads with me, and I have to put that down on the ground because the way my back is all messed up, I'll get like shooting pains down my leg, or I'll go numb in certain areas where when I stand up, you don't want pins and needles in your taint,
Ooh, yeah. You're like, ooh, this would be great in bed, but not now.
No, it's not pleasant, dude. It's not pleasant at all.
No, I
Anyway,
know.
so we're doing a live debrief this week, and we have something interesting because we've never debriefed a listener video in the sense that we've had listeners send us videos and we've debriefed them. The listeners in the video.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll get to that when we get to the video.
You know what I was thinking real quick before we keep going? We could literally do a podcast on just our fucked up body parts and just describe, hey, like, how fucked up is this? Oh, I had this pain. Oh, I had this pain. Oh, and we could literally go back and forth for about an hour, maybe more, of talking about all the different pains that we feel every fucking day. It's fucking crazy. Anyways, keep going.
So Scout's dad wants to know, are Chuck's back problems from duty belt use or an incident? Well,
both.
so I was gonna say I would guess both, but I know you had an incident, but also like my back problems are from both. I had an incident that kind of messed things up on a surveillance. I've had an incident that messed up my knee on a dog track, and then just duty belt, getting in and out of the car, all that stuff. So back problems and heart problems, at least in California, and I learned this is not everywhere. This is not everywhere. There are like the state I live in, they have denied people back issues, and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Really? Well, maybe it's because they allow to like do like the weight bearing vest and like the leg holsters to get everything off the hips to help mitigate it, because that's actually a strong, it's a whole nother podcast we could do, but that's a really strong fucking argument. Like, hey, no, we've done all these. There should we to mitigate back problems. Like, yes, it could still happen, but it's not going to all be presumptive because we've done so many things on the forefront to help mitigate it. So yeah, I can definitely see that, but yeah, it's all presumptive.
We could do so many episodes on what's wrong with us, mentally, physically, relationships.
From the injury that I fucked my knee up on, that fucked my back up. Scout,
alcohol,
dad. Alcohol.
I got permanent intestinal problems. I already had bubble guts from the job, right? That just like you get a sour stomach from the job from stress, and hopefully that goes away, right? But then post COVID, I ended up with a medical condition that, like, when I told the doctor, he was like, "Do you have a family history? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you blah?" And I'm like, "No," but and he's like, "When did it start?" I said, "I don't know. After I got COVID." And he goes, "Oh, well, that's why." And apparently, lots of men who got COVID have come down with this same problem afterwards. So, and it's
like,
no, it's colitis. So it's worse than bubble guts. It's like mega bubble guts.
So like when you have to go, like you sometimes, could be anywhere, you're like, oh, I gotta go. Like, no, I'm pulling out the side of the road.
Sometimes it's
not. Watch my partner shit on the side of the road.
I know you told that story. It was amazing,
dude. What the fuck? A couple times.
Okay, so for our first video,
my buddy shit his pants in his car. Not my partner, my buddy, because he got that on the job.
Got colitis on the job.
Yeah.
And
he got it from stress.
And he shit his pants in the car.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he was on his way home, and he's like, I couldn't, like, when it happens, it happens. I couldn't fucking help it. And I was like, I just hope I make it home, because he was on the 5, and there was like traffic, and he's nowhere to pull over.
Yeah.
And he's like, hopefully I make it. He tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who tune into the live shows, I just want you to know you might get stuff that other people don't get, because sometimes we do edit for time. If the live show goes long, sometimes there's stuff that we get into the weeds on. But welcome for those of you who are in the chat. Welcome to the live show. We've been throwing some of the comments up there, and we've been answering some of those questions. But first, our first video. This is kind of a public service announcement, is it not? So why don't you tee that up for everybody and let them know?
Okay. So literally last night, and I get, this is the most common question I got asked or get asked as a law enforcement officer. And I'm sure Tom has gotten this question so many fucking times. How to protect yourself from identity theft. And it basically, the conversation came up last night is, hey, avoid this gas station, from a friend of mine, avoid this gas station off this street and this street. I said, oh shit, I just went there the other day. She goes, yeah, I put my card in and they tried stealing a fuck ton of money. And I was like, really? And I was like, damn, I just used my card there the other day. And every time I go up to one of these things, one, I look for the tape at gas pumps, and 2, I look for anything that could be out of place, like new paint on the terminal. I look for the worn down keys. If they look pristine and brand new, it's probably a warning sign. And then I look for the card reader. Is it sticking out more than it normally would? There's these little tells that you can do. And then I fucking grab it and I yank on it. I push down on it. And if there's any give, I don't fucking use it. And then I actually try harder. And if I can peel it off, I'm not breaking it. It's actually because there's a skimmer put in place. And I have confiscated so many of these on the job, log them as evidence, to where I can speak on it very well. This just helps protect people, because so many people don't know this. And you would think, oh, this is common knowledge, it's common sense, but it's not, because no one's thinking of, I'm going to go to the ATM.
Well, let's look at the video and then you can,
and then we'll go into
if you come to a pump and you select the buttons and they kind of have to be forced in and they're not popping up like they should be, most likely you have a skimmer device. This one is the overlay that captures your data when you type in your button for your PIN number. That's being recorded, and that's also being transmitted.
Yeah.
So when you slide your card and you push the buttons, the numbers are being captured on this device here. Now, as far as your card reader, if you pull this, if you ever go to any place where you can swipe your card, most likely this is what they put there. So if you can try to pull it and it's loose, most likely they have a skimmer device. And that's where they're capturing your mag strip or your chip on your card. So this one captures your PIN, this one captures your card.
Yep.
So
that's good. That's a good one. That's a really good one. That really shows
setup. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen them a bunch of different ways.
Oh, these things are a menace.
Yeah. And a lot of the times they have a fucking camera. So it's all like not one piece. So a lot of the times they'll have a separate camera that transmits, and it all works in conjunction with the card reader as well as the keypad strokes, the keystrokes. And there's sometimes they're made very well to where they're like, you really have to know what you're looking for. And the glue that they use a lot is very, very tough. It's hard to get off. I've seen the full fucking pad. Like, you know how some of those ATMs, they have the keypad and the key, the card reader all in one thing. I've seen the whole thing pop off, and I'm like, holy shit. And then a bar at the top that you're like, holy crap, that's a camera. Like, holy shit. And they pop it off and they're like, whoa. As a cop, I was like, I've never seen that. Right. And that was my, I was on probation. That was my first thing with skimmers and things like that. And it was crazy. My first call for one of those that I ever confiscated was actually at like a Chase Bank or Bank of America. I think it was Chase. And they have that glass room where you can walk in and you have to punch in your fucking code. And there's 2 ATMs in there, so you're more protected. Now, when you go in there, your guard's down. You think, oh, it's cool. It's bulletproof glass. I have to use a code to get in. Only people who are members of this bank. So the chances of finding a skimmer in here are, I'm not going to get stolen, right? My first one I pulled.
The guy that could install the skimmer could be a member of the bank. Or if he's smart enough to install a skimmer, he's probably smart enough to manufacture a card that you can swipe in the frickin' door swipe to unlock the door. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and a lot of these things have their own separate battery power. So we took that back and it was recording the whole time we were in the stations, and we had to put tape over it so they don't see what's going on inside of our station, because that one that could be a ploy. Hey, let's get the cops to take it. Now we have a camera and we can see inside of their station. And, you know, so there's all these different OPSEC, operational security things that go on. I've seen so many of them and they're fucking crazy, but this is the most common. And to be on the lookout after this, if you work in a store or anything like that, to be on the lookout, if you see a fucking a gift card and they're using it as a credit card, that's your biggest tell that there's something wrong. That's identity theft, because what they do is they get these blank white cards with the mag strip on the back, and then they have their own separate card reader, and they take all this data that they're gathering, which is all remote, by the way. They don't ever have to go back and get that thing. So once that battery dies, they're done. They're really hard to find. They use VPNs, things like that, to transmit and trace and backtrace. It's crazy. And they basically just they pick the card, the pin, they write the pin on the back, they run it, and they can put whatever logo they want on the front.
Right.
And boom, they've got their own credit card. So it's like one of the biggest things to be on the lookout for. And even my friend, she said,
mag strip.
Yeah, that's it. You just need the mag strip. And she was like, I was pulling on it, and I was like, did you pull on it? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, you just didn't pull hard enough. And she's like, you got me. And I was like, fuck. Yeah, and it's gotten me too. So
it's frustrating as people get with the chip cards. The chip cards are designed in part to help make this harder, you know?
Yeah. Oh, but the whole fucking, let me put my thing up there and beep,
the tap.
That's bad. That's a bad one, because if you don't have an RFID wallet, right? You just have a regular like leather wallet, right? You could be walking around and some Joe Schmo could be walking next to you with a skimmer in his pocket, and he's picking up all of the cards. Now he's not getting your PIN, but he's getting all the credit cards. And so you can utilize any debit card as a credit card just without a PIN, and then you just sign your own fucking name and or a fake name. And so they utilize those too. So it's always a good thing to protect yourself, one, by pulling on these things and seeing if anything looks out of place. Like exactly what that dude said, if it's hard to push in, it's not really registering right away and you have to push harder, that's a big telltale sign. No worn down keys, you know, things look really fresh, things like that. Or you know, skimmers. Be on the lookout for skimmers in people's pockets, and you can't see it. So only way to protect yourself is get a RFID blocking wallet or purse.
And we're not doing an RFID commercial right now.
No.
But
I'll save you.
Yeah, but you know. Here, let me see if I can show you. I think I brought something up I can share. Let's see.
Oh, I wonder if I have a photo of my old skimmer that I popped off. I took a photo of it back in the day.
Okay, so we have, this is, for those of you watching live, this is an RFID skimmer here.
Yep.
It's literally the size of an old iPhone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
It's not hard to get
Not at all
people's information these days. So you just watch out. You know, it's anyway. So that's that was we thought we'd do a public service announcement, because I thought you're right. That was a really good example of it, because so many of these things are hard. Like you think, oh, I'm not going to get, I'll notice it. It's going to be obvious. It's going to be bulky. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. Whatever. Not always the good ones. That's the thing. The good ones are going to be done and gone before you realize it. So that's
yeah. And if you're come up to one of these things, don't just jiggle it a little bit. Fucking put pressure down on it. You're not going to break it. And if you do break it, you didn't break it because that just meant there was something stuck on there, because those are all one piece. You're not going to fucking break the card reader. Push on it hard. Put your palm on it like that guy did and just push down. And if you have any bit of give, go talk to the clerk there, and don't use that pump, and don't stick your card in it.
Right. And that's the other thing. Like if you're suspect of it, go tell the clerk. right? This guy whips out a screwdriver and starts pulling on stuff. He's obviously either works for the gas station or whatever. He's pretty confident in what he's doing. And it could have been that they knew it was already there and they pulled it off and then they put it back in place to make the video. Or that could have been an old device that they put on there just specifically to show people. But yes, it's So, all right. Well, our next video is going to be fun, I think. This is a listener sent it to us, but it also is a listener. Am I saying this right?
What?
The next video. It was sent by a listener, but the person in the video is the listener.
Correct. A fan sent it in, listener, and he's actually in the video himself.
Okay. So we want to watch
go
it
into like what happened.
Do we want to watch it first, or do you want to tee it up?
I can tee it up real quick. So just give some context real quick.
Right,
okay. So listener writes in and goes, "Someone tried to rob me in the store, this gas station I was in." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "This is the video," and I was like, "Cool." And I watched it, and that's enough. I'll tee that up, and then you can watch it from now, so you kind of have the context because it's not. I don't think there's any audio to it. There might be. But I don't think there was any.
So real quick, backing up to a question we got in the chat. Scout's dad wants to know if using a pump directly in front of the clerk window is less likely to be tampered with.
No,
because the times that they go put these in, there's no clerk to see them putting them in, and they can do
that
it surreptitiously. They can
tell?
block
You're just
it.
like,
they can block it really easily. So I wouldn't say that that's a real good indicator. Anyway, okay, so here we go. And after I have a story to share from my hunting partner that we talked about yesterday with part of this video, but we'll get into it. It's funny.
I need all the wins.
Now,
he put music on it.
Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets. Better move out the way cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
Kind of.
He asked, have I ever been in a fight before?
Did he? I wonder if he really asked that.
I'll take the listener as his word.
In the box, he just gives him a right and a left. Yep. Move. And then jumps right on him. And you guys kind of barely putting his pants up. So now my first question, because maybe the listener has told you this, was he working there or was he a customer there?
Really no context other than what I've seen in the video, and I didn't dive too deep into it, but it looks like he was a customer there, and the guy walks up to him and goes, "Hey man, you ever been in a fight before?" The fuck? And he lives in Chicago, so he knows that area very well.
Chicago, then.
Yeah, he's like, I know he knew the guy was trying to rob him.
Right.
So I guess a high area for robberies, and shit happens all the time out there. And so yeah, as soon as that happened, he's like, "All right, game on, dude." And I'm sure there was probably some other words said too, but since we can't see it or hear it, I mean, I can get more context onto it. But I just thought it was funny. Like, the guy tries to come up and rob him, and he found out really quick he has in fact been in a fight before.
Yes. Not only have I been in a fight, but I'm pretty damn good at it.
I want to put that fucking if I can splice in that video from Friday. I think it was Friday or Friday after next. And you got knocked out.
Right. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
so
that was funny.
So I thought that was hilarious. And I spoke to my buddy about it because this is one of those things where you never know what you're going to do until you're confronted with the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are tough on paper and they're tough behind a keyboard.
Right.
But if you've never been in a fight before, if you've never had somebody punch you in the face, if you've never experienced that moment of holy shit, it's about to go down, like it can be scary. It can make you freeze. It can, there's the 4 F's, right? They always said the 2, fight or flight, and they added freeze, which is good, but they forgot fornicate because that's also a stress response to violence.
It is. You get it fucking hard on.
we don't talk very much about that one, obviously. But in this instance, like I've been in fights. You've been in fights.
Mhm.
I've been in schoolyard fights. I grew up in an era where you can handle your business on the playground, and you dealt with bullies your own damn self.
Right.
Or you just kept getting bullied. And the last time anybody ever picked on me, my dad raised me like, he said, I want you to turn the other cheek. I want you to not fight, but he'd also raised me to wrestle with him and taught me like control holds and like all that
Yeah.
stuff, right? But it wasn't until like high school when between 8th and 9th grade, my old man was like, no, you can defend. I mean, you should defend yourself if somebody's like attacking you or
Right.
picking on you. So then the very next person that did it, I just did a technique that my dad had taught me when the guy tried to push me, and the guy ended up face down in the grass on a high school football field. And
Mhm.
I said, don't ever fucking touch me again. And the funny thing is word got around that this guy had tried to push me, and I stomped his face in the grass. And it was like, oh, well, I guess
Yeah, I did that.
I guess we shouldn't mess with him. And then,
Yeah.
but so what's the old expression? You just got to kill the first one.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So to that end, I was talking to my hunting partner and he's my old narco partner. He's moved up here. I've talked about him on the show before. And yes, I have tried to get him on the show. He's a recon Marine. He's a narco cop. Like he's got some great stories.
Dude,
But
what's his deal? What?
he's also one of those people's like, nope, I don't fucking talk about it. I'm like, you talk to me about it all the time. He goes, that's different, right? Like
Dude, you know what you should do?
What?
Do one of the if you'd be like, hey, you and I are just gonna talk, put the recorder down, we'll disguise your voice, we'll put one of those dudes in the corner like they do in like those true crime things where the guy goes undercover
right.
in like the Hells Angels. Do that, and then no one will know who you are.
He's just a private dude, right? Like he
I
was
get
telling
it.
me some of the shit from the Marine Corps, doing recon shit. And, what was really cool over the hunting trip, he finally told me what his role was in the first Gulf War. And he
Ooh.
was part of the team that faked or prepared for the amphibious landing that never occurred, right? So for those of you that don't remember, back in the first Gulf War, we basically prepared for a giant amphibious landing, and then the SEALs blew up some shit, and the Iraqi soldiers in Kuwait at these couple of islands and shit, and all they were all preparing for an amphibious invasion. So they started pointing their guns that direction, and then all the tanks rolled in from the other direction, and they went with a landing version. But he was part of his recon team, was part of the group that did that fake amphibious assault, and prepped that whole thing. And he said there was a component that it could have been real, right? Like
Right.
they really could have. They had done enough work that the amphibious assault. And I said, you know what? I wonder if like there were two people fighting over whether it was going to be amphibious assault or ground assault, like the Marines versus the Army. The Army wanted to do ground assault. Marines want to do Marines and Navy amphibious assault. Both teams do their prep work, and then on the day they're like, well, whichever way the Iraqis look, we'll go the other one. Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
But it was very interesting to have that conversation. Anyway, what he told me was, and this kind of goes towards what we're talking about here, about you never know what you're going to do in the moment, right? This is him and his dad were, he had just come home. It was before he was a cop. He'd just come home from the military, hanging out with his pop, and they went out, and some dude was screwing around, like being a jackass, committing crimes, and they could see him, but they were like, I'm not getting involved, right? And then the cops show up to get this dude, and the cop goes to hook him up, and when the cop goes to hook him up, they start fighting. The cop pulls out his baton, and my buddy at this point, him and his dad's not a cop, he's a fisherman, and but my buddy's a Marine, and they see this cop get into some shit, and all of a sudden it becomes a fight over the cop's baton.
Ooh.
Right. And so
Uh-oh.
the baton starts to, like, go, like he's trying to push it into the cop's face and stuff like that. And the cop, his dad goes, hey, sir, could you use some help? And the cop's like, yeah, that'd be great. And the cop said, yeah, if you want to help me, absolutely. So
Right.
my buddy and his dad stepped in and whooped the shit out of this guy and just beat the dog snot out of him, to the point where when they were done, they looked at the cop and this guy's like a bloody mess. And they're all, okay, is that all right? And the cop's like, yeah, that's fine. I couldn't do any of that shit because it's against policy, but you guys are more than welcome to.
Wow, that's funny.
And so it was interesting because we had talked about that he knows now, like all the shit he done to this dude, he would never have been able to get away with it as a cop, right? Because it would have been out of policy. But the cops like watching him beat the dog shit out of this dude to help him arrest this guy. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. You don't have a policy to follow. You can do whatever you want to him.
Right.
So it just brought up an interesting point. But it was also like, this is back in the day, and you'll still find this. I was talking to a cop last night. You'll still find this places, but you'd beat the shit out of a suspect, and then supervisor and the fire department would show up, and he'd be bloodier than shit, and they'd say, "What happened?" "I fell." And you're like, "Supervisor, did my officer do anything that you felt was unreasonable?" "Nope, he just put cuffs on me. I fell." And that was the code, right? That was like,
Right.
you could fight the cops. If you lost, then you just said you fell. So, I mean, it was a different time. So
Absolutely.
So
now it's like, oh, credit mommy.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I know for me, like if I saw a cop on the side of the road getting in a fight, one of my friends, who was a highway patrolman, will not hold that against him. He's a good cop. Like the week I was graduating from the academy, he was a young cop, and in the same city where I was going to the police academy, he was working the road. He got into a fight on the side of the freeway, like 2 blocks from where the police academy was, while we were there, preparing for graduation and shit. And the suspect's on top of him. It's a illegal, and he doesn't want to go to jail. Got warrants. They're fighting on the side of the road. I think there was some dope because he was, gang cartel type shit. And cops on his back, fighting. The suspect grabs for his gun, and he's like, "That's it, right? Like if he gets my gun, I'm fucked."
Right.
So my buddy Jason just bucks up and pushes this dude off with one arm as he reaches into his vest to pull his backup gun with the other arm, and pushes the dude out, and then contact shots him right in the chest and blows the tip of his own finger off with the freaking gun, just because that was the only shot he could make, right? Like it wasn't intentional. It was just in the moment, boom. And then, part of his fingertip blew off with the gun. If I saw that cop fighting on the side of the road now, I'd go help him. I'd absolutely like without hesitation. I don't understand the mentality of getting your phone out and filming shit.
Yeah, I don't.
For 2 reasons. Number one, I don't like. Why would you film it? Like, are you hoping to get famous out of it? Are you hoping to make money out of it? Like, you want to go viral or something? And 2, why would you pass up the opportunity to get in a full-on justifiable fucking Donnybrook where you back up a cop and you get to kick the shit out of somebody who desperately deserves it, and have the cop walk by you at the end and walk away, and you don't have to take paper. You might have to go to court.
Yeah, give a statement maybe.
Yeah,
that'd be about it,
dude. I mean, come on, that's the dream, right?
Right.
I would love to be on that team where the cops are like, all right, we'll put a tone out on the radio, and if your beeper goes off, you look at your beeper and it'll tell you what intersection we need help at, and you can come over and help us get the shit out of somebody. I'd be on that team in a second.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's and if you ever see a law enforcement officer out there or fire getting into a fight with someone, you can assist and just be like friendly, make sure they know who you are, and keep repeating it, because in a fight you have to break that tunnel vision. You just keep repeating friendly, I'm here to help, friendly. And if you're a cop, it's blue, and you just keep repeating it so that they can fucking hear you, and then you just rip the dude off of him, and you get some clean shots in, and you'll be fine.
And don't assume they heard you because you said it a couple of times at the beginning, right? If you're like blue, and then you get into the fight, and then the cop turns around and decks you one, and you're like, "What the fuck? I said blue," and he's like, "You did."
Right.
I mean, like when you hear the response, "Thanks, all right, hey," grab his arms. Like when you know that person has broken their tunnel vision and they acknowledge your existence and presence and the fact that you're there to help them, right? Then you're good, right? But
right. And if you see a cop one-on-one with a suspect and he's got top control and he looks like he's doing okay, you can still assist and you can come up and be like, hey, friendly, what do you need? If he's by himself, because he's probably gonna be like, hey, grab his ankles. And what you do is you can elongate his body, right, by pulling, and then you can flop his ankles over one another, and then you can sit on him. And then now he can't, you just took his legs out. So now he's only got his upper torso, and it makes it a lot harder for that suspect to fight. And that really helps out the cop. You don't have to go over there and get on top control with the cop because that makes it harder. You can help still and just grab their legs and elongate them until partner officers arrive, and then they'll pull you off and they'll get onto it, and it's good to go.
And so before we go on to our next one, I have one that's funny that I wanted to share. I just thought this is amazing. Firefighter sent this to us, and I think it's hilarious. I don't know if you saw it, Chuck, but this is very short. The firefighter sent this to us, so I sent it to a bunch of firefighter buddies and a bunch of cop buddies because it's too good not to send to cop buddies too. But this is what it is. It says, "How did you become such a great firefighter?"
Oh, can't hear it. You can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No, it's all static.
Oh man, it's a scene from Tropic Thunder, and Ben Stiller is going. They asked him, "How did you become a wildland firefighter?" Is the caption on top, right? And then Ben Stiller's going, "I just did the work, man. I just, watched a lot of retarded people doing retarded stuff, and just." It's
hilarious.
Really, yeah. So Tropic Thunder is a great movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is our big debrief, and we got sent this a bunch. As I think it seems to happen to us a lot when something hits the internet and it's this crazy. We get sent some shit and we enjoy it. So why don't you tee this up?
So it's another convenience store, liquor store, gas station type of store. Officer gets dispatched to looks like a transient setting fires inside of the store. He gets there, sees the fucking transient, and then looks and sees he just lit a whole shelf on fire. And that's basically when the chaos ensues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Stop.
I asked her nicely.
I don't care.
Here we go.
Yeah.
He's setting fire to stuff. Stop. Stop. Stop.
I asked her nicely.
I don't care. Affirmative.
Cops got a fire extinguisher.
Where'd you go? This way? Hey! Stop! Stop! Get on the ground! You threw lighter fluid on me.
What agency
Hey,
is this?
do not tase him because you'll spark it up.
Here we go.
Ooh, get out.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect takedown. One.
So for those
Great
people,
fucking takedown.
cop walks in, or it starts with the cop inside body camera. I'm assuming it's police officer because the verbiage into the body cam. And there's this weird homeless dude, and in the background there's like a 3-foot column of fire on the aisle. And the cop just says stop, and then goes, gets the fire extinguisher, puts out the fire, and then goes, wait, where'd he go? Because the suspect's gone. Suspect had 8 feet outside the gas station, liquor store, whatever, convenience store. And he's running away from the cop. Cop's trying to get to him. Another cop shows up in an Explorer or whatever. And he's like, don't tase him, because I guess he's covered in gasoline.
Right.
And then by the way, good looking out for your partner, right? Because as much as I would love to see that dude get tased and go up in flames, it's going to fuck your partner's life up. So good looking out for your partner, telling him not to do that. And then he starts flinging his arm, and I'm assuming he's like spraying cuffs on or spraying an accelerant, gasoline, something that whatever the lighter fluid that he used to light the inside of the convenience store on fire is probably what he's squirting or throwing at the cop car. And then
Yeah,
the
so
cop car just bip, nails him
yeah,
with the vehicle, and they take him into custody.
right. Now let's get into the nitty gritty of this.
Yes.
One cop comes on scene, sees suspect, sees the fire. He's like, okay, I have an arson suspect there now. I can arrest. Instead of immediately putting handcuffs on him, he has a discourse with him, telling him to stop. And the guy says repeatedly, I told her to be nice to me, you know, and you're like, cool. The first time you get there and you're like, he did it. Yeah. Turn the fuck around, put handcuffs on before you deal with the fire, because you need to get that suspect into custody because you don't know what else is capable of. You turn your back on him to put that fire out. Next thing you know, you're getting squirted with lighter fluid and set on fire. It's bad news. The tactics into this are very bad. It's tombstone courage. It's complacency. This is textbook complacency. You see the officer just nonchalant, like, oh, well, I guess this happened. All fucking like Eeyore status, you know, like, oh, I don't know. And then
the level of
put out the fire. Huh?
The level of sloth that he exhibits, not
Bro.
putting out that, like, why are we not instantly cuffing this dude up? So Sam,
I don't know.
This, he said, I just want to know why he wasn't in cuffs immediately. Sam, I want to know the same thing. There's a lot of issues with that. There's also an issue of why he's the one putting out the fire with the fire extinguisher. Why are you giving clear instructions to the store clerk? Hey, get the fire extinguisher, put the fire out. Like if the fire's growing and expanding, right? Well, cuff that dude up, then have the other guy prep the fire extinguisher, and then even if he doesn't like get the fire put out, you can help him. I just don't know.
Right. Because tactics leading up to the last incident where you see him get hit by the car, one, that the secondary officer approaching, he did a great job. He did his job. He didn't fucking spark him up, and he took him out, which was a lawful hit with that car. Hey, whatever. I mean, most agencies might frown upon that, and you can get out if you have an impact weapon like a beanbag or, a 40 millimeter foam baton round. There's a lot of things you could have done. Tasing's out of the question because when you see the cop run after him out of the store when a dude beats feet and disappears, he catches him around the corner, and then the suspect squirts lighter fluid all over his person. Not the cop, but over his person. And the cop, instead of going hands-on, runs back to his car. And then I'm like, dude, you have 2 incidents where you can go hands-on. Okay. As long as shit doesn't spark up, you're fine. Go hands-on. You should have arrested him, put him in cuffs immediately. And if you didn't, you should have put him in cuffs when you came around that corner when he sprayed himself with fucking lighter fluid.
Instantly.
I get you're like instantly, like, and then go change out your uniform, and just make sure like, hey, I'm contaminated. I have fucking lighter fluid on me. He has lighter fluid on me. Get to the jail, strip his ass off or strip him of his clothes before he gets in the cop car. And then get him new jail panties and fucking a jail t-shirt and some slip-ons. There's so many things that could have happened this is what happens when you have inexperienced law enforcement trying to deal with problems. They make mistakes, they fuck up. And I'm not saying this cop's inexperienced. I'm just saying he let complacency get the better of him. And it happens to a lot of law enforcement officers out there. And this is just a clear example of when a shitty situation gets even shittier and how tactics leading up to an incident can make a whole incident bad, right? So tactics leading up to that hit, everything is probably going to be out of policy, because if you would have just handcuffed him, that would have stopped everything. He wouldn't have sprayed himself with lighter fluid, other than what he had sprayed on the store, and he wouldn't have gotten ran over by a fucking cop car.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of issues.
There's a lot of issues, and I'm looking at this other video that. Well, this is not the right one. There's this other angle of that same video. Well, so that's a listener sent it to us, and I was going to surprise you with it. Unfortunately,
I think I might have the video of our photo of my car.
Well, if you do, you send it to me, and I'll put it on there because this is hilarious. So I found somebody else. It's again, we've gotten like 6 different looks of this at different from different listeners and different angles and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And this is one of those like there are so many opportunities for you to have done the right thing, and you clearly did. It took your partner showing up to save your ass, right? Like if that partner
Right.
doesn't show up and nail that dude with the car, you're fucked, right? What do you?
Yeah.
He's on like full blown like flee mode. He's not. There's no. He's in flight mode. You know, he's not even being a cop anymore at that point, which is frustrating for me to see, because you by not taking action, by not being violent enough, fast enough with this dude, by not like slamming his face on the tile floor of that fucking convenience store and cuffing him up,
Right.
you put your partners in the public at risk, right? This is what when John was on, we talked about, right? Like when he tells the dude, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna fuck you up real bad if you do what you're gonna do," right? And they're
Right.
like, "Well, you can't cuss at him. What are you gonna do?" "Oh, I'm gonna tase him." Really? Right? That's the route you're gonna go. Like, let's pick the right way to go. Let's pick the right thing to do. Let's actually, you know, let's actually address the threat. So here's another angle of that
Stop!
incident.
Get on the ground!
Obviously, still pulling.
He threw lighter fluid on me.
He threw lighter fluid on me, and he runs away.
Hey!
Down on the ground, sir. Down on the ground.
Hey, do not tase him because he'll spark it up.
Right? Okay. So the reason I wanted to show this view of it is because you can hear the cop say, "Oh, he threw lighter fluid on me." Let's start with that's your own fault. You had a chance to cuff that dude up in the store, and you didn't. And then you went, "Oh shit, where's the bad guy?" You didn't like. You told him to stop, and he didn't stop. Where's the surprise? Why are you surprised? At what point, like, did you think about, "Oh, I should just cuff this? He's a suspect in an arson." Come on.
Yeah. Immediately, just like Sam says, immediately should have been cuffed. There's no like, dude, the tactics up to this are, fuck, you could have not gotten sprayed if you just handcuffed him. Okay, you didn't handcuff him. He runs outside. Okay, he squirted some lighter fluid on you. As long as there is no like incendiary device that can light it up, no spark, you're gonna be fine. You just got to change immediately and go delouse and shower and get that shit off of your skin, because gasoline will soak in your skin. I don't know about lighter fluid, but it's a lot less volatile than it is than gasoline, obviously. But it still is an oily substance that will still soak into your skin, and you don't want that on you in case something does happen later. You don't want to set yourself on fire. But
Yeah, no.
doesn't mean you can't go fucking hands on unless he had a fucking lighter and he's like, "Come on, bitch, let's go." And then you're like, "Whoa!" But like the cop freaks out, like, "Fuck."
Yeah, he freaks out.
I would have grabbed my fucking foam baton or my my beanbag and been like, "Okay, you're about to get it, dude." You know, but I also would have handcuffed him immediately. I would have been like, "Oh shit!" And like you said, "Hey, clerk, get on the fucking flames. I'm gonna arrest him."
Yeah, you're in a deadly force situation when he's starting to spray lighter fluid on you.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's like pulling a gun on you, because pulling a gun on you, all he has to do is pull the trigger. Spraying lighter fluid on you, all he has to do is spark a match. Ugh.
If this guy dies, like if the good, I mean, this transient, if he would have died, that would have sparked a big outrage, right?
Yeah,
because cops basically could have done things differently to protect his life a little bit more. You know, there's this like we were Monday morning quarterbacking fuck out of this because this is how you learn, and it's uncomfortable.
It's a debrief,
and yeah, it's debrief, and so you're gonna fuck up on duty. But if no one tells you fuck up, did you know you fucked up?
Yeah,
you fucked up on this big time, and your partner saved your ass.
I would have
better.
If I was the watch commander, I'd have wrote this dude up.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
it goes straight to it. You're letter of the law for sure. Just bow.
No, dude, this is like this is beyond the ass chewing, right?
100%, dude. Because this is how you get indicted. This is how you get
oral counseling, right? Like this is a fucking problem. You better fix it.
Yeah,
I don't.
Sure.
Like, it's not like, oh, dude, when you put the handcuffs on wrong, or you need to no, like, motherfucker, you're a coward, right? You need to fix it.
Pussy.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't fuck around when it comes to shit that'll get your partner fired on the nightly news or killed, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking unforgivable sin right there. I'm
Bro,
sorry.
what if this is shit that I see from Boots? Like
Yes.
probationers, fucking month 1
Yeah.
probationer, even sometimes month 6, and they're just that fucked up. And you would never let your probationer go to the street without like fixing this. Why? How does this cop, like, I get you may have been on, and that's what I'm saying, complacency, tombstone courage.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how long you've been, you need to be on your toes 100% of the time, because dumb shit like this will happen, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
This is a rookie mistake for sure. Rookie
And
mistake.
so we've talked about this on the show before. There are cops you're going to work with that I call lifetime rookies, 20-year rookies, right? The shift before they friggin' retire, they'll still make mistakes that a rookie would make, because the mentality never settles in. They never, it's that, like, see bad guy must chase, and they bail out of the car, forgetting that they can just stay in the car and cut him off at the pass and, like, follow him. Like, there's all kinds of things that you learn, or you're supposed to learn, which is why they give you hash marks, boys. Okay. When you see a guy with 4 or 5 or 6 hash marks, or they go from his wrist to his elbow, whether it's in the military or whether it's on the street, that is supposed to mean they've seen some shit. Supposed to mean, right?
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't always, right?
No.
So don't assume it's any more than you can assume that just because somebody makes sergeant or lieutenant or captain, whether it's a police department, a fire department, in the military, that doesn't mean they know what the fuck they're doing, right?
Mm-mm.
And I have had people look at me and go, and I go, get the fuck out. Like, just do this, this, and this. And then, okay. If you know you don't know what you're doing, ask, and then take the advice and do all that. But if you don't know what you're doing, know that you don't know what you're doing, and seek out help, and then get better. That's the final part that I think a lot of people miss, is and then get better.
Exactly. It's constructive criticism. Take what you fucked up on, and that's how you learn. I call it baptism by fire. You fuck up, that's how you learn. Baptism by fire, because you get burnt a little bit, and then you keep going and you get better, like a rising phoenix from the ashes, right? Type of thing. I have seen people pass probation, get off their and then be, not an at-will employee anymore, and now they're, a regular patrol officer, and then they go to a new station, and they're all happy. They're like, oh, I'm no longer a boot. Yes, you are. And then they get into a foot pursuit with a suspect with their partner, and then they get up close to the suspect, and then they're afraid to go hands-on. They were all able to go and catch him, but then they're like, fuck, dude, I don't know what to do now. And they get scared. And then next thing you know, this actually happened. A buddy of mine, there was this dude, he shouldn't have passed probation. I didn't care for him, but it was outside of my, I couldn't have done anything anyways, because I wasn't a training officer. And he made probation, and he went to a neighboring station and gets into a foot pursuit. And I think gang officers were there, and they're in a foot pursuit of this gangster. And he gets all the way up to him and doesn't go hands-on. He waits till his partner catches up, pushes him, tackles him to the ground, and then just stands there and watches his partner fight.
Yeah, that if you, dude,
so shit like that, it's gonna keep happening. But
these are the guys, like, when you go code 4, and because you're like, okay, I've got 4 at gunpoint, copy 4 at gunpoint, and then another unit comes up on the radio and says, copy en route to assist, and you go, I'm code 4. You go, wait, you just said you had 4 at gunpoint. You're like, yep, but if that's who you're sending me, I'm fucking code 4, because it's
anybody else,
right? And then somebody, and here's the awesome shit. When you really know your guys, like, if I go out with 4 at gunpoint, right, and some douche 20-year rookie puts that he's en route to back me, Chuck would come up on the radio, because Chuck and I know this about him. Chuck would come up on the radio, and he could be in Timbuktu, and he would go, "I'm closer. I'll handle the back." Right? You jump
cancel that request. I'm en route.
Cancel that request. I'm en route. I'm closer. You say whatever it is you have to say because you know that's not the guy you want. Like, hey, go send that guy to the theft report. Go send that guy to the barking dog call.
Right.
Go
Absolutely.
send that guy. Like, do not send him to any tactical situations. I had another partner. She was great, except she would always like stir my suspects up and like jack them up and get them all angry and stuff like that. And so I knew she'd be there for me in a fight, but if I was in a situation where I needed to talk people down, she wasn't the person I wanted there.
Right.
Now I'm going to share something kind of
has a mouth
like
on him.
weird.
No argument there.
Wasn't supposed to go on here right yet, but
I've even heard it.
Figure out this. So this is the show. If you're not watching it, it's called Shoresy. Okay.
Is this from the new season?
No.
Okay, good.
From the first season. Why you're not up on the new season?
No,
I
I'm
haven't
finishing Letterkenny.
finished the new season yet. Oh, you haven't finished Letterkenny? You can watch Shoresy without finishing Letterkenny. You'll be all right.
I've started watching Shoresy. I watched the first season, but I'm going to finish this because he's actually in it.
Yes. So I saw this, and I want you to take the word hockey player and replace it with cop or Marine or soldier or firefighter or whatever. And I want you to understand that one of the things that she describes hockey players perfectly, but I saw this scene and I've been waiting for a reason to use it, and I'm going to use it in some trainings and stuff like that. But this is how your mindset should be. If you're a cop, if you're a firefighter, if you're a hockey player, you should have this hockey player mindset, because this is what debriefs are all about, right? Here you go.
And talk himself out of it.
I know you have a soft spot for him.
I do.
I love that photo.
It's not just him. It's hockey players.
Why?
Take losing so personally. They don't just accept blame for a loss. They claim it. They take that burden off of their teammates. I fucked up. I cost us the game. I need to be better. But when they win, it's never personal. They never take credit. They never say I. They share it. In other sports, it's me, me, me. But in hockey, it's we.
Now, what she said is, when hockey players lose, it's I fucked up. I need to be better.
Right.
I should have done this or that. But when they win, it's fuck yeah, we did it. Right. And when you fuck up on a call, right, you should own it. Look at your teammates and go, that could have gone better. I fucked that up. When you fuck up on a fire, look at your fucking firefighters and go, I fucked that up. Like, it was successful, but I fucked it up. I need to be better. Right.
Yeah. That could have gotten really bad. You know?
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Own it.
But when you win, you all win together. Right. Because one person, with the exception of maybe Kobe Bryant and Connor McDavid, one person can't win you the game. Right.
Right.
But one person sure as fuck can lose you the game. And one cop can't take on the world. Right. But one cop can fuck the world all up by doing the wrong shit.
100%.
So these are the things I want you guys to think about. That's why I loved that clip. Also, if you're not
accurate,
Shoresy, fucking watch Shoresy. And so I was trying to surprise Chuck with this one. A listener sent this in and said, "Hey, is this Chuck?" And it's
I have it on the right.
It's frying jumper cables. It's also probably frying batteries at this point.
Bro, they just sit there and watch it like, dude, it's gonna set on fire, bro.
None of them,
off.
Yeah,
none of them probably know how to disconnect it at this point. Like, they're all afraid.
It's not like positive is on negative or anything.
Bro, I hit mine with a baton. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah. You have to break the connection, right?
Yeah, just one. Just got to get one off. One pop.
Literally use these to jumpstart.
Yeah. And these, the funniest part, I guess, about that is that they can't figure out what they're doing wrong. Okay?
Bro, you switch the positive and negative, dude.
So Chuck was kind enough to share this with us. This is the aftermath of his. And now, admittedly, it's dark. It's dark. Like,
yeah, I fucked up. I didn't see. I was even saying it to myself. Red goes red, black goes black, like a fucking moron. And I did it to them. Red goes red, black goes black. But I guess because I was talking and it was at the scene of a traffic accident, I fucking was talking. I was like, oh yeah, red goes red, red and black. Boom.
Oh, it's amazing.
Black and red. Yeah.
Well,
it happens.
All right. So that's it for our live debrief.
Yeah.
It's been fun, and hope you guys had a good time. Next week, I think we're going to have a guest. Also, Chuck and I are working on, we're going to be doing a collaboration with another podcast. We've got some stuff scheduled, so hopefully we can watch for that. And I don't know, do you have anything for us?
Well, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening. If you like today's podcast and the content we provide, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification thing so you're always know when we go live. Please follow us on our Instagram at war_stories_official and our Facebook at War Stories Podcast. Please like and share all of our posts. You can click the link in our bio to hit our website, check our merch. The website is www.warstoryofficial.com. And it also has the booking email, mailbag email, but the booking is for if you want to come on the show, you think you have a story you would like to share, you think you have a friend who would be a great fit, you let them know about us. We're always looking for, fire, veterans, law enforcement, medics, also corrections, dispatchers, and nurses. We thank you for the support. Stay safe.
Right. And for those of you who want to still get one of those Whoopee hoodies, I can personally attest to how warm they are when you're out in very, very freezing cold weather. They will keep you warm underneath, and they're really lightweight and thin. They'll keep you warm underneath whatever it is you want to keep warm underneath.
Yeah.
So hit those up, hit us up. And until our next episode, come home with your shield or